From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Well, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 59 Tonight. Thank you for finding us on our new Fox 59 Now streaming app, which you can find on your smart TV, on Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV, and on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button wherever it is, whatever page you're on and you're watching this show. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss a moment of the conversation that we have every night at 8 o'clock. Tonight, we are talking about money. We'll call it the Fox Financial Friday. We're still working on the name, but for now, we'll go with that because money is what makes the world go round, as the songs always say. And to tell you how that impacts your life more than you think it does, including the jobs you get, car insurance, a whole list of things, is our financial expert here on the show. Kordel Drake is in our studio. Kordel, good evening. Thank you. Today we're talking about credit.
Good evening, Cam. How are you, sir?
I'm good. It's payday Friday, so I'm checking my bank accounts. I just did payroll. So the fact that we're doing financials on Friday on Fox is timely. Credit is what you want to talk about today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is an essential part of your financial health to have good credit. Credit allows you to purchase a home, car, goods and services that you need to survive in this world. And there's a big difference between someone with excellent credit, that's 800 and above, or someone who has terrible credit, 600. People will loan you money, but it will be at a steep cost.
You know, the credit card companies love me. And you know why? Because I do a lot of minimum payments sometimes which is just like uh, dropping a bucket of water on a house fire. Ain't really doing nothing, but we appreciate your contribution at the bank. And all I'm doing is making them more money.
Exactly. There's an old saying: you can either build your wealth or someone else's wealth when you spend your money. And the goal should be to increase your wealth. It takes time. It's not an overnight fix, but yeah, minimum payments are just what the credit card company wants. They are by law required to show you on that statement how long it will take you to pay something off if you make the minimum payment, uh, which should get your attention.
Hmm.
It's 2025, and if you see you don't pay this off until 2040, you can only imagine the interest charges, how much you actually pay for said item, which
Hmm.
by the time you pay it off might not be worth a fraction of what you paid for it initially. So
So when the credit card companies see you put in that minimum payment, they're like, yes, we will see you next month. Thank you for the extra money.
exactly, if you look at the stock price for uh, companies such as Visa and MasterCard, they are financially well thanks to people who make minimum payments. And the goal ultimately is to make that payment within 30 days because you can flip this and you can get paid for using their services, but it takes discipline and it takes time. But that same item, you purchase it on January 1st, on February 1st, you pay it off. They may give you a little change back, and over time, that adds up. Versus you make that payment, you make that purchase January 1st, you make the payment on February 1st. Now you've paid more than the actual item is worth. So
So when we talk about monthly payments, um, I've heard all kinds of different explanations. First, the bank told my bank because I was getting hit with people stealing my debit card information, my debit card. And they were like, well, first off, you should use your credit card because the credit companies are looking out for you more than your bank is. And they tried to explain it to me. And he was like, the I guess because with the credit company, it's you're literally borrowing money versus with the debit card, it's your money. So the credit card company has more of a um, more of a reason to make sure somebody isn't stealing your money because it's their money versus the bank, where it's like, well, we'll help you, but it's your money.
Exactly. Yeah, the credit card company is incented to protect that money because it's their money. They're incented uh, to go after the people. So as long what people don't understand is as long as it was theft or some sort of criminal activity, something illegal, the credit card company will indemnify you, make you whole. Now, if you go and give that information away and tell somebody to do something and they do it and don't do it fraudulently and they trick you, then that's on you. So, you just have to be careful with the information you give out. But yeah, it's better to make a purchase on the credit with the credit card because the credit card company will then pursue the individual who wronged you.
Now, I've been told making 2 payments a month on a credit card doesn't help you. Is that true?
No, that's not true. It does help you. You're reducing the principal. Anytime you reduce the principal, you're paying less interest on the principal amount. There are certain things, i.e., a home, large purchases, maybe like a car, that you inevitably have to pay interest on. But other things, if possible, when you get financially fit, the goal should be able to pay it off in 30 days. If you purchase something and you can't pay it off in 30 days, there's a good chance maybe you just don't need it or you need to wait until you can pay it off in 30 days. A lot of the things we purchase are impulse purchases, and that can get you in trouble. Like the old saying, never go to the grocery store when you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You'll do a lot of things that you normally wouldn't do. Impulse buying will get you in trouble. You really need to curb your spending if possible, especially in the economic environment we're in now with all this uncertainty. Uh, Things may be going up uh, tremendously, prices, and that's out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you got a price that's going to increase 20, 30%, and then interest rates are higher. You're going to add that on top. You're just paying an extraordinary amount of money for the same item that a year ago was a lot less.
So, what is the fastest way to raise your credit score? Is it because sometimes when you pay things off, and people say, well, you should, one, they say never close an account, but two, that when you pay things off, your credit score goes down sometimes.
You should pay things off. I mean, that only makes common sense. You
Mm-hmm.
pay it off, it's no longer a bill or a responsibility that you have to take care of. And that will just increase your debt to income level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So debt to income is simply how much you have going out versus how much you're going to have coming in. You take your gross earnings and you take your monthly requirements or monthly bills, and that should be about 35% or less.
Mm-hmm.
So, just for simplicity, every $100 you have coming in, only 35 of them should be going out,
Mm-hmm.
35 or less.
Mm-hmm.
That's what creditors look at.
Mm-hmm.
Say, do you have the ability to pay me back on time? And the more risk they have to take to loan you that money, the more they're going to charge you to cover that risk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a risk versus reward game.
And that's why, um, and the thing is, and I'm experiencing this as a business owner, um, in when I loan out services, when I send buses to places, I have learned that okay, I need to raise the price on the buses because certain customers take longer to pay it back, but they still want their service. And so if I make more money off of them last month, I need that money to stretch because they aren't gonna be Johnny on the spot on first of next month.
Exactly. You are looking at things from the standpoint of the credit card company or anybody who lends you money. If they know they can count on getting that money back in a timely manner, then they will charge you less. But if they are like, well, we might get our money on the first or we might get it on the 10th, then we need to charge them more to cover that difference between the first and the 10th. They
Mm-hmm.
have to manage the risk.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and just like you have to as a business owner. So, back to your original question, uh, yeah, you pay things off, but don't close the account. You've already opened it, gone through the credit requirement to get the account open. What you're showing the credit card company or potential lenders is, oh, I can take care of my obligations in a timely manner. It looks good. So don't close it.
Mm-hmm.
You've already gone through the heavy lifting of getting approved to open it. You've paid it off. You're showing a track record.
Mm-hmm.
Old saying, the best way to judge what somebody's going to do in the future is to look what they did in the past.
Mm-hmm. The credit score. What's the fastest way to make it go up?
There are a few things you can do. One of the things is to become an authorized spender on someone with good credit. Now, essentially, you're piggybacking off of somebody else's good credit. And if that person can trust you and you can be responsible, that helps. Another thing is pay your bills off, you know, pay them on time and pay them off. Uh, Another thing you can do, increase your income, whatever that looks like. Work a little overtime, get a second job, whatever it takes to increase your income. But it's interesting. To be financially healthy is the total opposite of physical health.
Mm-hmm.
To be physically healthy, you want to send out more calories than you bring in.
Mm-hmm.
Financial health is you want to bring in more income than you're sending out. So if you can get a balance in life with those two things, you'll be fine. But that's the goal.
So I'm using my own life examples as we talk because I bought a pressure washer. It's like $3,000, and they had multiple payment plans. I think I got it in August. In full disclosure, I could have been paid it off, but they had all these different options. I was like, yeah, we'll pay it off over 3 years because and the interest was next to nothing. And that, in fact, and no, I think why I did that was because there is no interest in it on that particular deal if you pay it off in the time that you say that you will pay it off. And I'm like, well, I can stretch it out because I know I can always pay that and then it'll help my credit because it looks like I always pay this little thing on time. Am I overthinking it, or could I just have paid this off and been done with it?
No, it's okay. If somebody's giving you uh, interest-free payments in a certain amount of time, then you can take that money and use it towards something you're paying interest on
Mm-hmm.
and get that down. As long as you get it paid off by the expiration date of the promotion, you're
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only thing, just make sure that there are certain ones that you have to make minimum payments,
Mm-hmm.
or there are certain contracts that, hey, as long as you pay it off by this date, we don't care about the minimum payments.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you get that clarification
Mm-hmm.
and address that, you're fine. Why would you pay off something that doesn't cost you interest and then let something that's costing
Counseling
you interest
interest.
continue to grow?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, so
uh,
smart decision
yeah,
on that
smart decision.
one. Okay.
I'll share a story. This happened to me years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Companies running a big promotion for big screen TVs for the Super Bowl. We'll have it in your living room by game day.
Mm-hmm.
I bid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I made the minimum payments,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me 4 years to pay this TV off. By the time I paid it off, I paid twice as much
Mm-hmm.
as the TV was worth.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I bid to get it in time for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was just one game. I could have went to a bar and watched it for a lot cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody else's house who already owned a big screen TV. But I fell. So those are the type of things you have to look out for. Just be wise in your decision making. I've made mistakes, but and you will make mistakes. Just learn from them and don't repeat them.
Should you um pay attention? So like you got your Credit Karma's apps and stuff like that, and they tell you every month what your latest uh credit score is, and sometimes they'll send you a uh great job on lowering such and such payment, and then sometimes you're like, on what? and but they are looking at something different, or they're doing an average. Explain, because you got your Experian and the other two that I can't think of off the top of my head, but you're the financial guy. Tell us what's the difference.
Well, when it comes to credit scores, the thing you want to realize is most major credit card companies will show you your FICO score. That's the main one.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a Discover card, part of the service is, hey, that FICO score is right there.
Mm-hmm.
American Express shows you your credit score. You want to protect that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like your DNA. That shows the world what you are able to do financially and that you're responsible. And there are certain things in this life 99.9% of the people can't pay. Most people don't have the resources to buy a house outright in cash.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't have the resources to pay for a car
Mm-hmm.
outright in cash. So there are certain things to be financed. Things happen in life. You know, emergencies happen. Refrigerator could go out. You don't want your AC. I had my AC go out in the middle of May and it was already 90 degrees. So
Mine went
you
out last night.
understand you're not gonna make it through the summer
Mine
without
went
AC.
out last night.
Right. Okay. So you understand, and that's why you need to be financially healthy to absorb that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got to go and finance a air conditioning unit, that's gonna cost.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between someone, if you have to borrow the money to do it, getting the best rate,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 6, 7%, versus somebody like, oh yeah, we'll give you an air conditioning unit, but it's gonna cost you 15%.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you pay that unit off, you probably bought 2 units.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If I come into a large sum of money and I start paying a bunch of stuff off all at one time at a month, or I put a bunch of or I knock down um, the 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 outstanding debt, if I pay a lot of it down all at once, will I see a quick increase in my credit score? Because it always feels like you miss one payment on something, or you're just late. That credit card, that credit score drops 100 points, but you pay off $100,000 worth of debt at one time. Your credit score goes up 2 points.
Yeah, it you get punished more for the negative things than you get rewarded for the positive things.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a good example is like gas prices.
Mm-hmm.
Gas prices go down 5 cents, 2 cents, 5 cents, 2 cents,
Mm-hmm.
and they jump up 30 to 40 cents.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how it is with the credit. So that's why step one, pay your bills on time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first step. Pay your bills on time. One of the mistakes people make, and I hear a lot of people say this, and it's just not a wise thing to say. I can make the payment. Because you can make the payment does not mean you can afford something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference. Being able to afford something means that you can make it, pay it off in a reasonable time, a reasonable amount of time with a small amount of interest.
Mm-hmm.
If possible, none at all. That means you can afford it. Making the payment just ties you to that payment, sometimes for an extraordinary amount of time. There's a Proverbs, it's Proverbs 22:7 says that the lender, the borrower is the slave to the lender. that means they own you.
Mm-hmm.
And it will ruin your life if you get too much debt. You just feel like a hamster on a wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Just you getting up, going to work, doing everything just to pay bills, just to exist.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to live like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a happy life.
Um, this is um, when you are trying to plan out. If you say, okay, I want to schedule out the next couple of payments, and um, and I guess does this include your mortgage as we're trying to do? You're trying to schedule things. What's your advice to people also trying to balance with the mortgage? Obviously you don't want to be late on that because eventually you lose your house. But how does that affect your credit score if you're paying that payment each month?
Well, first of all, let me clear. I don't give advice. I
Okay.
just give information
Give
to help people make
What information
wise
would you
this.
give to
What
people?
information you want to pay your mortgage? You want to pay it on time. That's your largest purchase ever. It's for most people, it's the largest purchase they'll ever make. So you want to make that on time
Mm-hmm.
because you have to live somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you blow it with your mortgage, they throw you out. You got to live somewhere. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna pay to live somewhere for the rest of your life. From a mortgage to a nursing home, you're going to pay to live somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to pay your bills on time, including your mortgage.
Um, when you are doing uh, credit cards, you get them paid off. What do you do with them?
Keep them. Like I said, you've done the heavy lifting to get approved. You paid them off. Keep them because it shows that you have discipline. The thing with the credit that they look at, one of the components of your credit score is the amount that you are able to borrow and the amount that you owe. For instance, say you got $30,000 credit limit. If if you've used 20,000 of it, that's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got a $30,000 limit and you use three, that's a good sign. That's showing that you have control
Mm-hmm.
over your financial situation. Because you have money doesn't mean you need to spend all of it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that makes your credit score look good is when you are able to pay your bills on time and also live under your means.
Mm-hmm.
It's countercultural. Most people, you give them $1, they want you to think they have $5.
Mm-hmm.
But it's countercultural. Somebody, if you make $1, live like you really making 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Live below your means. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You don't. Most of the things that we get, a lot of times we get them for the wrong reasons. Yeah, to impress other people. When other people see some of the things you have, they're gonna be three reactions. There's going to be, I'm happy for you, proud of you, glad you did well. Then you're gonna have the haters, okay? And then there are people who just could care less. Those three reactions are not going to change. You pull up in a new Cadillac, people who really care about you, oh wow, great job, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Saved your money, got your Cadillac. Other people, I don't know who he think he
Mm-hmm.
is. He done bought a Cadillac. Other people be like, I don't care, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't afford that car, and now you've paid an extraordinary amount of interest, can't pay your other bills, and you are just miserable for that purchase,
Mm-hmm.
what was the point? Because
Mm-hmm.
the people who see it, their reaction's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
You should do things for you. You worked hard, you wanted a car, and you made the purchase, and you could afford it.
We only have a couple minutes left. But when you pay off all that, the more, if you're paying down your credit, you get more freedom. Yes, you're still making the same amount of money, but really now you have more money because if you need those credit cards, now you can use them. There's nothing worse than having credit cards and seeing, can't use that one.
Right, exactly. Remember the end game, the master game is to use that credit card to pay your bills, make purchases, pay it off in 30 days, and the credit card company will pay you back. And you'll see that cash balance grow. You could use that to go on a vacation,
Mm-hmm.
purchase something in the house,
Mm-hmm.
a major purchase, and the good thing is you can watch it grow and then you can reward yourself. But you can only do that once you clear out all your debt. And I mean, you can use that credit card for everyday purchases, all your bills, your utilities, groceries, gas, all that stuff. You can run through the credit card at the end of the month after 30 days, pay it off. And guess what? Discover will give you some money back.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Right, they do. However, if you do that and you have this running debt that's huge, it's gonna cost you. And Discover's gonna love you.
Yes, they do. Like I said, they love that minimum payment,
Yes, they do.
but we do appreciate when we get that little monthly cash back. Speaking of which, it's the middle of the month, so if you haven't paid your mortgage, now's a good time to do it before. This is when the late fees kick in with the mortgage. It's one thing about the mortgage. They give you the whole half the month to give them their money before they start acting up.
They do give you a grace period. And I have some friends who say, hey, if they didn't want you to use it, they wouldn't have given it to you.
That's right. I look at that bill. That's due in 10 days. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Fox 59 tonight. We'll be back on Monday to talk more, and then we'll come back and we'll give you more financial facts on another Friday. For now, everybody, have a great weekend. I'm Cameron Roto. I'll talk to you on the radio Sunday morning starting at 8 a.m. Good night.